What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett, and as always, with me on audio is Lance, my co-host. Say hi, Lance.
Hi.
So today we're going to be doing, I guess I should say, as always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. But today we're going to be doing episode 4 review for WandaVision. What was your initial reaction to this episode, Lance?
I definitely got more of a Marvel MCU type feel from where it started off, compared to when I first started watching the entire season, I'm like, what do you have me watching?
Yeah, I actually almost kind of felt that way with it too. I was like, you know what? If they would have started this as episode 1, I think I would have been bigger into it to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think so too. Because like I said, when I first watched the first episode, I thought it was like an intro to something.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. When it was almost over, I was like, okay. Now they're gonna take us into the actual show. This was like, I don't know what this was, and no, that was the episode. And I was like, what is going on here?
I'll admit,
I felt like it was like. I felt like it was a horrible reboot of like I Dream of Jeannie mixed with Bewitched.
Dude, them was parts of episode 1. And even episode
no, there's probably
2,
a lot of our viewers that probably don't even know those shows.
Yeah, you know how you when you watch these old shows, you kind of turn your brain off because the jokes are kind of lame and the circumstances are kind of stupid.
Yeah,
but you turn your brain off. I kind of got that way with episode 1 and 2. I got so into it in that regard. Where I was like, okay, I'm almost feeling like this is the old timey show,
That's how I was. I forgot that this was Vision and Scarlet Witch. I'm sitting here like, okay, this is something I watched with my grandparents when I was a kid, so I watched it.
Yeah.
And it was there was times where I was like, that was kind of funny. That old old kind of humor was there, and that's kind of the feel I got was like I just watched an old show with one of my grandparents or something, and so and then it took me a second, and then I'm like, what just happened?
So you weren't really a big. Were you a big fan of episode 3?
Episode 3, I thought was the most exciting one out of the first 3. In total, episode 4 would be my favorite episode, but I also felt like they answered some things, don't get me wrong, but then they left you with more questions too, which they kind of have to do that. That's what makes shows successful is they leave you hanging so that you continue to watch it. I get that. But I just had some questions. But
what was like your biggest question of it? I thought it answered more questions than it answered. I mean, it did. It did. It did. Okay, it did answer the whole her finding the toy helicopter in the bushes. Okay, that was actually one of their drones they flew in. We found that out. Yeah. That was kind of the B guy was actually one of them people trying to get in there. So that was kind of a weird little twist to it, but I didn't really understand why Beekeeper.
I don't know why he turned into that other than the helmet and stuff. The hazmat suit he was wearing had to become something in her world.
See, there is in the Marvel comics, there's this group that they're villains and I forget even their names, but they kind of have a look about like a beekeeper, and I was thinking they were going to maybe go in that way. But
I thought so too. But I think that was kind of like a misdirection. They wanted you to think that so that they could do this. But I have that right there brings up another question for me. She was like pregnant. They come outside, they see him, and she's like, no, and he disappears. Mm-hmm. Well, when she did that with Geraldine, she goes back out there and she's Monica again.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened to him? When she made him leave, where'd he go? They didn't find him. They found a jump rope.
Yeah, well, I know, and it kind of had like this weird like cork-like thing at the end of it because it Like you remember the guy looking at it and he's like, "What is this? This isn't the rope that we had sent you in with." Like
it was one of those old jump ropes that they give you like in middle school during PE.
And see, Darcy, yeah, I know. See, they never explained out what happened to him, that guy. I'm curious
so there's one question for me.
Infiltrated the world, and whether or not she has expelled him. Like it don't seem like it's expelled. I guess that she.
I mean, it kind of seemed like because she was like no, and she like rewound it and did that whole scene over, and then when she like told Geraldine she needed to leave, she left. So what happened to him? Is he still trapped there somewhere, or did she expel him too? And if she did, where did he come out of that town at?
Yeah, because he obviously didn't come out
around
the town, because that was the first time anybody had gone in and out.
It would have triggered that alarm.
Mm-hmm. I'm just
if he had come back out.
That no one has, like, I don't understand, like, their hesitation to go into it now that they kind of know what's going on.
Is the radiation? They're worried about the radiation.
No, it could very well be. Yeah, because it did say it was expanding out. The radiation was expanding out. Overall, let me just say this just real quick. I actually thought this was the best episode of the season.
Oh, I 100% actually agree with you for once.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed Detective Wu. I enjoyed Monica Rambo. I like seeing the snap and everything. You know, the people coming back.
I was actually glad they brought. I was glad they brought Darcy Lewis over from the other Marvel movies. You know.
See, she's one character that annoys me, but then it's kind of funny at the same time. Like
it's kind of like I feel like that's kind of her job. Like she's supposed to be that way. So like, I mean, she was like that in the first Thor too. You know. So
yeah, she was. And you know, I kind of almost wonder why she just like disappeared. And it's like,
well, she reminds me of the Catelyn girl from DC's Flash.
Yeah.
She's kind of like not as how they look or act really. It's just like they're basically the same character, just with one's with DC and one's with Marvel.
I could actually see that. I'd say Catelyn maybe is not as funny, or
no, she's not. She's
still got
Catelyn's
a way
more
about her that is kind of funny.
To me, that Catelyn girl was more serious. Like
this one, Darcy is just like, you know.
She's a fun character for me. I feel like she's a fun character. Yeah.
I kind of felt like during this episode, she kind of like when she found out about what kind of, I guess, waves it was on. I kind of feel like she kind of went all broad a little bit, like you're really assuming something really quick, and she's going with something else.
I think that's something that's gonna come to light too. Is she obviously had some kind of pre-knowledge of these waves and knowing that I need to hook this up to a TV. There's no other way that you could have possibly just put that together because you saw what looked like a 50s sitcom.
Yeah, I almost kind of feel like they needed an older person to have found that out.
If she didn't have some pre-knowledge to it, you know, like.
But I actually thought it was kind of interesting, that scene where they were bringing Darcy in, because all those people told all these different fields, so she's like, well, they don't know what's going on because they're bringing all these people in from all these different fields. They're not really understanding exactly what's going on. But
I did like how she asked that one guy, and he was like, we're not supposed to talk to each other. So then everybody else told her their jobs, and then he tried to tell hers finally. And she's like, no one cares. You should have been a douchebag to start with.
Yeah. But overall, like I enjoyed that they answered so many questions.
With it bringing in not just that answering the questions, but just the atmosphere of our world to it. I feel like I can get into this show from here on out. I was struggling the first 3 episodes.
I struggled the first episode, and I rewatched it with my wife. And when I rewatched it with my wife, and she was like, "I love this show," and I was like, "Really?" I was like, "You love this show?" So she was telling me why she loved it, and then I was like, "You know what? I didn't really look at it from that perspective, so I kind of got more into it." Uh, at
No,
that
I think
point,
also we're like, this is supposed to be about like superheroes and crap.
yeah, I
What
was
is
so.
this? So
That's
I feel
what
like
threw
we
me
were a
off.
little, so I feel like we were probably a little judgmental in the
Yeah.
beginning because of that, because that's what we were expecting, and what we got was a 50 sitcom.
Yeah, I actually agree with you 110% on that one because went into WandaVision thinking there's going to be of course there is mystery, but in the first 2 episodes there weren't really a whole lot of mystery. There was some things that went on, but it wasn't
The
like it was
biggest
just in
mystery,
your face kind of like mystery.
the biggest mystery for me was like, how is this a show right now? Like,
Yeah, and why
like what
why
is
have
gonna
it that
happen
way?
here? Like, that's what I said. Like, I remember you asked me what I thought of it, and I
Hmm.
told you I didn't like it, but I was intrigued by it.
Yeah, and they're still leaving to me. There, yes, it does look like now that Wanda is the main villain of this, or not villain. I guess you could say, almost kind of
See, I don't
villain
know what to call
protagonist.
her.
I don't either.
Like,
I don't know if you call her
at
a
this point, I
protagonist or
know
villain.
that she has created this world. I don't know if she had some kind of mental break when Vision got killed,
Hmm.
or what happened there, but like she saw him dead at the end, so obviously, and they had said,
That
"Isn't he
was
dead?"
that was a creepy, creepy image
Yeah,
when that
and
happened.
I was like, okay, so she's created this world where she can feel safe, like,
It's like every time that she's disturbed by
but
something, she lets the reality slip a little bit. It seems
a
like.
little bit, and then she
Yeah,
has to shut that back off. It's like a
yeah,
mental break almost.
yeah, yeah.
And my biggest question when it came to that was, she brought Vision back to life
Hmm.
because they were in love or whatever.
Hmm.
But what about her brother?
Yeah, I never
Like,
understood that. Like, obviously, her brother meant the world to her. Why is he not brought back? To me, that's one of the biggest mysteries that I
and
actually
I
have for this
actually
show.
thought, okay, you know how rapidly it showed us how rapidly her pregnancy went.
Hmm.
So are the babies, are they going to grow that quickly as well in life?
Yes.
If so, they might become the villains of the show because they're going to have the powers that her and her brother had.
Well, in the series, yes, yes, both of them. One has her powers, and the other one has her brother's
Right.
powers.
See, I don't know all these things. I'm not big Marvel.
So what actually I think they're going to do is these kids are going to tie in X-Men to the Marvel Cinematic Universe because
I
that's
got
what
you.
they are.
I got you.
So this is going to be a tie. To me, this is going to be kind of a
This is how they're
tie-in
going to
to
bring
that.
in. Okay, yeah.
And see, I'm
'Cause,
not big on that. Actually, I don't
see,
like that idea.
I'm okay with it. I guess I have mixed emotions because I remember a couple years ago they were talking about making Wolverine part of the Avengers,
Yeah, and I
and
wouldn't.
I wasn't for that at all. So if they want to bring X-Men into it, this is a way they can do that without it just being like, hey, we're just gonna put Wolverine out here because he's, I don't know, Wolverine.
It's like the X-Men universe is
So
like such a different world that I just don't.
that you forget that it's even Marvel.
Yeah, yeah. Like
That's how I
I
always
wouldn't want.
felt.
I don't
Like,
want it to be the same world as what I don't feel like it fits with that world exactly.
I kind of wish that if they bring in the X-Men, they bring in like the cartoon X-Men.
Yeah, I would like a. I know they've tried to make reboots of that show, the original show, but I would love for them to bring. I would love them to bring it back more in cartoon form than movie form at this point.
Well, I mean, what I mean by that is like, if they, even if it's like live action, I'm
Hmm.
cool with that. But bring in that version of Wolverine, not
Yes. Yeah.
with the yellow and the
I kind of just
the
feel
yellow
like
and blue Wolverine, not.
I
What's that
enjoyed
guy's name?
Yeah, I enjoyed the older X-Men movies than I did. Like by older, I mean like when they went back to like the 1950s. I enjoyed those movies
So you're
more than
talking
I
about
enjoyed the
like
other ones.
X-Men Days of Future Past or whatever?
I thought X-Men Apocalypse was like one of the worst movies I had seen in the last 10
I hated
years.
that movie.
That was a garbage movie.
I just like, but I did like the X-Men First Class
I
and
did. I love that movie too. I thought it was really
Days
great.
of Future Past or whatever. I like those ones. I did not enjoy Apocalypse though.
But see, I enjoyed, even going back to WandaVision, I enjoyed that they brought in. I think his name's Detective Wu. I think is his name.
Yeah.
From Ant Man. I enjoyed that they brought him back. I like that he did the card trick.
Yeah.
At first, I didn't recognize him, but I was like, I like
I
this guy.
did.
Why do
Look,
I
man.
like this guy and know this guy?
I didn't put
Like,
it together until you just now said it. Like
yeah,
just now. I'm
yeah,
like, that's who that is.
I did see. I didn't recognize him at first either, and I was like, I like this guy. Why do I like him and feel like
I
I've
did too.
liked him
I did
before?
too. And I'm like, I've seen him in something before, and I didn't even put that together.
Yeah. See, but see, I love his character. Like, I'm glad, and I like Monica and Rambo. I like her character.
See,
I like
I'm
her
not a
character a
big.
lot more than I liked her mother in Captain Marvel.
I'm not as big into Monica Rambeau as you are. Uh, she just hasn't. I don't know.
She hasn't proven enough or been shown enough. But you know what? I felt like they did a really good take on her backstory, or to a certain extent,
That was
in a
kind of
really
like,
quick episode.
see. There's questions in that with that aspect of it too.
Hmm.
She was like, you came in here and told me my mom was okay, and she's like, your mom died 3 years ago, and that was 2 years after you went missing. So like,
I know,
what
like,
happened there? Like, why did the reality change? Like,
well, I mean, the after the
are
snap,
we in
they were
a different multiverse or what?
no, after the snap, Thanos' snap, they were gone for what, 5 years?
Oh, and then they brought him back at Endgame.
Yeah, yeah, and see, this is showing from when
I
everyone was
got you.
brought
I
back,
got you.
and
Okay.
and so
Like I said,
that
I'm not a Marvel expert, you know me,
yeah.
but I have.
See that actually confused my wife too. She was watching that and she thought it was something to have to do with WandaVision. I was like, no, no, no. That had to do with the snap. She's like, oh, are you sure it don't have to? I'm like,
I
no.
was thinking,
That's
yeah,
kind
you're
of
right.
telling.
You're 100% right, 1,000% right. But I was thinking it had something to do with when Wanda created that
Yeah,
little town. Like
yeah.
she caused that shit. Like some of these people are living in that town, perhaps. But no, you're right. That was all Thanos.
So I think that they've kind of they broke it down now where that there's not a whole lot of theories left. So Herb wasn't trying to tell her that they were dead, or at least I don't think. I think you think that theory maybe now is ruled out.
I don't know, man. Like, I really don't know what. That's one of the things. Like, I will say this. You know, when we first started, when you first said you gotta go watch WandaVision, you gotta go watch WandaVision. I started watching. I'm like, no,
Hmm.
this is not gonna be something I like. But I always had questions. There was always something that made me be like, I'm gonna watch the next one.
Yeah.
And it's still that way. And that's one of those things. Like, I still think that could be a possibility, but I also could see where no, they're going to go in a different direction. Like,
I kind of feel like
I kind of think he was going to tell Vision that they were all dead because clearly Vision is.
well,
It's
he
either that
did
or
bring
we're all
back.
prisoner here.
Yeah, it's not to say that. I mean that is one thing that it did very well clarify. She did bring back the dead for him. And so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. I just feel like it
But
would make
then,
her into
but
too much of a
then,
villain if
I
they
think
did
so,
that though.
you know, I think so too because like, uh, you know, when her and her brother first showed up, I'm like, okay, these are the villains, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I actually really did start to like her
Hmm.
in the Marvel movies, and then so to turn around and turn her back into a villain would be kind of, I don't know. It'd be weird to me, but
she's a really good actress, and she's not. In the comic book, she has been against
the
the
way
Avengers at times, but
the
she's
way
never. It's not for bad reasons. Never.
right, and that could be the case here. You know, like
Yeah.
she might not be even be in control of these things. It could be a mental defense because when he died, it broke her.
Yeah. But see, I still got this feeling that if she's completely and totally in control of this world, then it still doesn't make any sense why she wouldn't bring back
I think
Pietro.
that maybe she is in control of that world, but maybe someone else somewhere is in control of her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that could be one of those possibilities too. It's not outside the.
You know, if they brought back the dead, let's say it had something to do with the dead, that's when I can maybe see Mephisto. You know, that playing a role, him playing a role maybe in something along those lines. But it still doesn't explain Agnes. What Agnes is, if she is the witch that from the comics, I don't understand if how did she just happen to be in this one town when this
That's what I'm
happened?
saying.
So
That maybe Wanda's actually being controlled by them somehow.
yes, I mean there's something, you know, that little thing, that little pin that she's got that's got the Grim Reaper on it. There's got to be some kind of connection there with that. I mean, I don't know why they would throw that out there and then it not be something. But see, if you even did the Grim Reaper thing, then, you know, a lot of people were thinking, oh, well, that's a reference to a Marvel villain. But it actually could not be a reference to a Marvel villain. It could be a reference to who she's working for and what has happened to the civilians of that town.
Or you know, there's always the possibility that it is the Marvel villain, and that's who's controlling her right now.
Yeah,
But you know, there's
that actually could be.
There's so many possibilities to this show right now that it has it. I'll be honest, you know, it's hooked me. And when we first started, when I first started watching, I was like, there ain't no way this is gonna be a show that's gonna.
Yeah. Yeah, I you know what? After that first episode, I kind of had the exact same feeling. I was like, man, you know, I'm going to do reviews over it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into it. But
yeah,
then,
I'll be honest,
I was like, you know what? I actually really kind of enjoy this show. I enjoy the mystery to it. And
I'll be
definitely
honest
enjoyed
with
this
you,
episode more than I've enjoyed any of them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just if it wasn't for us doing these reviews, I never would have started the show.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that too. Like,
and as much as it hurts me to admit this, the WandaVision to me is not as I thought it was going to be a boring show, and it hasn't bored me like Mandalorian has.
No.
Mandalorian bored me.
Really? See, I love the Mandalorian.
The first season for sure. No, I'm talking about
season 1.
Yeah, season 1. And so I'm like, I kind of could see WandaVision actually becoming a better show for Disney Plus than what Mandalorian is.
I could actually see that too. And you know what? I didn't know how the MCU would work on a series front, but I actually think works better than movies.
Yeah, I do like it. There's something about the, you know, episodic things with me. I prefer series over movies anyway.
We had done. You remember when we did that? We did a video here on Rants or Us where you and I we were talking about, you know, upcoming series and movies and what we were most excited about. WandaVision was not on anything that wasn't one that either of us was excited for.
Well, and I also didn't think we would. I also didn't think we would get it first. Like I thought,
we weren't supposed to.
Well, I know, but I mean, so I didn't. When we would have those discussions, it wouldn't even be on my radar.
No. Loki series was on my radar. Even the Falcon and Winter Soldier one, even though I'm not excited about it. That one
was on mine. I am excited about this show, but
I like Anthony Mackie. I think that's his name, Anthony Mackie. That plays Falcon. I like him.
I like the character of the Winter Soldier. Period.
He is a pretty good actor too.
No, I mean, yeah, he's a good actor, but I like that character in general.
I feel like that character wasn't given enough airtime in the movie that he was supposed to really be the main villain of.
Yeah.
I felt like he wasn't aired out enough.
He didn't have
to
enough screen time, but
yeah, he didn't.
But as far as episode 4 goes, I felt like it was a really strong episode, and I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to episode 5 now.
Yeah, I enjoyed that we got a lot of answers. I enjoy now we understand the town of Westview, and that hey, this might actually be an impending threat to the world, because she did say it was spreading out. The radiation was spreading out.
And the thing is, like, the outside world doesn't even realize, like, because like those cops are like, the town you're talking about doesn't exist.
Yeah, this literally could get to the point. This is how I actually see the season playing out. That it gets to the point where she realizes, either her or Vision realize that this could damage the entire world as they know it, and then
I think that yeah, I think so too. I think when Vision really starts to put it together, he's going to tell her, "You got to let me go and save the world," But if they do that, where's they going to go with episode 2?
Yeah, well, season 2, you mean?
Oh yeah, season 2.
You know what? That's actually a good question. I don't know,
because if they do that, there won't be a show. Like,
no, I mean that would be
so,
that'd be the entire show. Now they could just do this one season and move on to another series, which I do think I think what they're trying to do.
I mean, that's a possibility. They could use WandaVision as an intro, like
I think
to get their feet wet with the series platform,
and I think it's been a huge success so far. So I'm actually excited about seeing.
I think so
Marvel
too.
shows.
I think that Marvel might have hit a gem not to say that I don't hate the Marvel movies, but I do think they're slightly overrated by the fan base.
I actually think that too. I definitely believe
but
that.
I actually enjoy the Marvel. I think I'm gonna enjoy the Marvel series over the movies.
Definitely. I actually enjoy this, and I'm looking forward to Loki, and even like I said, Falcon Winter Soldier. I'm kind of looking forward to that as well now, because I feel like what, no matter if I'm excited about it or not, I at least have confidence now that the MCU will give us quality content. Because I wasn't hooked. Didn't think I'd be hooked on WandaVision, but I really enjoy this show, and so I'm like, okay, I've got faith in you now, Marvel.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it more than I realized I did. Just sitting here talking about it, I'm like, there's a lot of things I actually do like that I hadn't even realized I liked.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, what would you rate this episode overall? 1 to 10.
I'll give it a solid 8 for me.
I would give it an 8 too as well. I mean, I would borderline almost 9. Like, that's how much
I want to say like 8, 8.5.
Yeah, I know. 8 to me still, and that's the few times that I will, we always talk about this. I'm actually usually really critical, and I can usually find everything that's wrong with it. But on this one, I feel like 8 is, I'm judging it too low. Like, I want to give it a higher grade.
Like I said, there's questions. There's questions for this episode, but that's not a bad thing. Like,
no, I feel like it answered enough.
If it answered all the questions, I'd be like, well, I'm bored.
Yeah, I know, like...
so I get, so I don't think that... So I actually, I almost want to say a 9.
Yeah, I do too. I'm kind of leaning... I want to... Yeah, you know what? I'll change mine. I'll be like, I think a 9 for me, too. Because it just feels like an 8 is just too low.
I feel like that too.
Near perfect episode.
I feel like 8 is too low for that episode.
Yeah.
Maybe I would give it like a 7.5, 8 for the whole season so far.
I would give it. But
I think that number is going to go way up. I think that they're actually starting to hit their stride with it, and I think by the end of the season, how many episodes a season does it have?
10.
Okay, so by the time we get there, that number could be at a 10.
I just don't want them to give up all the answers too quick. and I kind of
Yeah,
felt like
I
this
don't think they're
answered
gonna.
more
I don't think they're
questions
gonna.
than I would even want them to answer to a certain extent. I
See,
was still
I
a little
didn't
bit
feel that
interested.
way. I felt like I had more questions than I got answers. But
Yeah, but I mean, we'll just have to see when it comes to episode 5. But I'm truly excited about it. I cannot wait until next Friday when we
I
get
can't.
to
I can't
get
either.
some more
And
answers.
I was like, I remember when you first told me to watch it. I was like, what day does new episodes come out? You're like
Hmm.
Friday. I'm like, oh, good. I don't feel like watching another. And now to this Friday, I was like, God, I wish it was Friday.
I know I do too. That's the way I feel about
You
it
know.
completely. But
And so this
overall,
episode alone has won me over. So
yeah, oh, definitely with me too. But overall, guys, if y'all got any questions or y'all anything about anything that we've said on here, comment down below. Whether you agree or disagree, let us know what y'all think of this. Let us know what y'all think of the show overall. And as always, guys, we always appreciate y'all watching. Y'all take care.